Mass is the ultimate goal of every bodybuilder. You know, you put in a lot of hard work and dedication into the gym, and the end results, of course, is large, thick muscle density. That is mass. That's everything. When building mass, it takes a combination of things. Number one, of course, you're talking your nutrition, then you're talking your training, then you're talking about psych. It's almost like the law of physics. Everything is connected to everything. One without the other is zero. Bodybuilding is about muscle. It's about beef, you know, and that means the guys with the largest muscle. And of course, we're looking at definition too. You know, that separate the men from the boys. Mr. Olympia should be something grand. Our bodybuilding should be something grand. So that's why the biggest and the thickest and the largest is bodybuilding. The program you're about to see, we'll be using the on 3, off 1, or the 3-day split. This program is designed to put on good lean muscle mass. So let's get rolling, and we'll start into day 1. We're going to begin our workout with pull downs, and I prefer doing pull downs to the front. It allows me to use more weight and get that extra flex at the end of each movement. But for some of you, pull downs behind may be preferable. As far as reps and sets are, we're looking at least 4 sets, repetitions anywhere between 10 to 12. And make sure as you're coming down, you squeeze and flex every muscle in the back. Pull downs are number one for adding length and building quality in the upper back muscles. Next, we're going to be moving into barbell rows, which is number one for building thickness and width. Next on the agenda are barbell rows, which is bread and butter for the back. There's nothing like barbell rows to build thickness and overall density. As far as the reps are concerned, we're looking at 6 to 8 sets. We're looking at 4 to 5 maximum. Now make sure when you're doing these that you wear a belt to protect the lower back, and no snapping and no jerking in the movement. It's not always the quantity, but the quality. Barbell rows is bread and butter for the back. Excellent for building overall mass and thickness. Also be careful that you don't allow too much pressure or stress to be placed upon the lower back area. That's why it's always advised to wear a belt to protect the lower back. Next, we're going to be moving into cable rows to finish off our back training. To finish off the back, we have the long cable rows, which is excellent for working all of the muscles in the upper back as well as the lower lumbar region. Now, as you're getting your stretch, make sure that you lean all the way forward, and as you come back, you want to throw the chest forward and squeeze the back. Never lean backwards. As far as sets are concerned, we're looking at 4 repetitions, anywhere between 10 to 12. And make sure it's a weight that you're able to control. During each and every exercise, I would advise using the pyramid principle, which means to start with a lighter weight and work your way up. By doing so, it will help escape injury. It will also allow the muscle enough time to warm up for those heavy mass building sets that are ahead. Cable rows are excellent when it comes to adding length and building quality in the upper back as well as the lower back. Excellent way to finish off your routine. The first exercise for the chest, of course, are bench presses. There's nothing like it as far as building mass and power. Very basic, but yet very necessary. We're looking at reps anywhere between 6 to 8, sets 4 to 5. Make sure that when you grab the bar that you're always in control of the movement. Come down and get a good negative and force the bar upward. Always stay in control. Bench presses are #1 for building mass and overall power for the pecs. Very basic, but yet a very important movement. Next, we're going to be moving to incline barbell presses, which are excellent for building mass in the upper pecs. The second chest movement is incline barbell presses, which is excellent for building the upper pectoral region. When grasping the bar, make sure that you're always in control of the weight, because this is a somewhat awkward exercise. I would also advise using a spotter or a training partner. And when you're placing the bar back on the rack, make sure that you don't miss the pads. As far as reps are concerned, we're looking at 6 to 8 sets, 4 to 5 maximum. Incline barbell presses, there's nothing like them. #1 for building mass in the upper pecs. And now that we've finished there, we're gonna go on and finish off with dumbbell flies or dips. And now we're gonna be finishing up our chest routine with dumbbell flies, which is #1 for building quality and density. We're not talking about using a lot of weight when doing this. You wanna make sure you use a weight that you're able to control and get a good flex at the top of the movement. So we wanna come down, control, and as we come up, we want to squeeze the pecs. No clanging the dumbbells together. When you do this, it takes away from the concentration. Reps, we're looking at 10 to 12, sets, 3 maximum. And that'll do it for day 1. All right, now we've just completed the pec workout. And notice we did dumbbell flies, which is #1 for building density and quality in the pectoral muscles. From one workout to the next, I would advise alternating them with dips. For our next workout, we'll move right into day 2, which we'll be doing shoulders and arms. We'll begin the second day of our split program, training shoulders. We're gonna begin first with barbell presses. Some prefer seated, some prefer standing. I myself like to be seated. Also make sure that you wear a belt when doing these. Use a weight that you're able to control. As you grasp the bar, make sure you have a good feeling for the weight. Come down in a controlled way and thrust the weight upward. No clinging or snapping at the top of the movement. As far as reps are concerned, we're talking 6 to 8 sets, 4 to 5 maximum. Before starting any exercise program, I always advise practicing safety. Now this means having a training partner about and never training alone. Also make sure that it has been okayed by your physician to start such a vigorous program. All right. Barbell presses is #1 when it comes to building mass and overall density in the deltoid muscles. Also, I would advise from time to time doing presses behind the neck or alternate them from one workout to the next. Next, we're going to move into side laterals, which is excellent for definition. The second exercise for the shoulders is lateral raises. Now, the lateral raise is an awkward movement in itself. For me, I generally use no more than 25 to 30 pounds. You want to use a weight that will allow you to come up and get a good flex at the top of the movement. And as you're coming down, you want to use control. As far as sets are concerned, we're talking 3 to 4 maximum. Repetitions anywhere between 10 to 12. Now we've completed the side laterals, which is excellent for building shape and quality on the lateral delts. Next, we're going to be going into upright rolls, which is fantastic for building the traps. Or we may do shrugs. I advise from one workout to the next, switching them up. Our final deltoid movement will be upright rolls. And what we want to do is choose a weight, again, that will allow us to use good control and good form. So as you grasp the weight, we're looking at anywhere between 10 to 12 inches apart in your grip. You want to pull it upward to touch the chin. You want to squeeze and flex the traps at the top of the movement. Now as you're coming down with your negative, make sure you get a good stretch at the bottom. You want to come up again and squeeze and flex at the top, come down and get a good negative at the bottom. And make sure that it's a weight that will not endanger you of injuring your joints. As far as reps and sets are concerned, we're looking at anywhere between 3 to 4 sets. Repetitions, 10 to 12. All right. Upright rolls are excellent. Finish up the trap workout, or the shoulder workout, let's say. Now, when doing these, you got to make sure that you get a good negative in. As you come to the top, you want to squeeze and flex the trap at the end of the movement. Let's see what kind of pump we can get here. Next on the agenda are arms. And we'll begin first with barbell curls, which is a very basic, yet a very important movement for building overall mass on the bicep muscles. This exercise has been around for years and it will always be here. Make sure that you use a weight that you're able to control for your first 2 to 3 sets. Also, I would advise using the pyramid principle. Start with a lighter weight and work your way up so that you don't endanger the joints. As far as sets and repetitions are concerned, we're looking at least 4 to 5 sets, repetitions anywhere between 6 to 8. And yes, it's okay to cheat from time to time, but make sure that as you're cheating, you're in control of the movement, and also wear a belt to protect the lower back. All right, now we've completed the last sets of barbell curls, which is excellent for building mass and overall size on the biceps. Next, we're going to go right into preacher curls. Next on the list is preacher curls, which is number 1 for adding length and peak on the heads of the biceps. Now, you got to be careful when doing the negative on this movement, because if you snap or jerk the joints at the bottom, then you can easily injure yourself. As far as sets are concerned, we're talking 4 to 5 maximum. As far as repetitions, we're looking anywhere between 10 to 12. And make sure you're in control of this movement. All right, now we've completed our bicep routine by using preacher curls, which is excellent for building quality and lengthening the bicep heads. Next, we're going to move into triceps. We'll start first with press downs. Now we're going to be moving into triceps. We're going to start first with press down, which is an excellent way to warm the triceps up for the sets that are following. As far as repetitions, we're looking at anywhere between 10 to 12. Sets, 4 to 5. Now, when doing your tricep press downs, make sure you squeeze the muscle out at the bottom. Never snap or jerk the joints. Tricep press downs are excellent for adding a combination of mass and density. I also recommend using them first at the beginning of the workout in order to allow for enough warm-up. Next, we're going to be moving into tricep presses or lion French presses. We're going to finish the tricep up with doing lion French presses, which is excellent for building overall mass. But there again, make sure that you use a weight that you're able to control. I would also advise having a spotter near. And make sure, again, you're in control of the movement. Never snap or jerk during the extension. As far as reps are concerned, we're looking at 8 to 10. As far as sets, 4. French presses are excellent for building overall mass on the tricep muscles, but at the same time, you gotta be careful. Make sure you ease the joints out at the top of the movement. Save your joints. Next, we're gonna be moving right into leg extensions. We'll be blasting the thighs. Check out these triceps here. Now we're gonna begin our leg workout. We're gonna start first with leg extension, which is an excellent way to warm up the knee joints for the following sets to come. Now, when coming up on the leg extension, you want to make sure you flex and squeeze the muscle at the peak of every movement. Come down and get a good controlled negative. And make sure also that you stretch at the end of each and every set. As far as weights are concerned, use a weight that will enable you to get good control. Sets, at least 5. You're talking repetitions, 12 to 15. Leg extension is a fantastic way to begin your leg routine. It allows the joints enough time to warm up properly, at the same time hitting all heads of the frontal thigh. Next, we're going to move into a more grueling exercise, squats. Coming up next are squats. And as we say in the bodybuilding world, you're not a man, or let's say a woman, until you do squats. When doing squats, you gotta always make sure that you're in control of the movement. When you're coming down, you wanna make sure that as you get to the bottom, you burst up. We don't mean clanging or jerking at the top of the movement. As far as sets are concerned, we're talking 4 to 5. Reps, we're looking at anywhere between 6 to 8. You also wanna be sure to wear a belt, protect the lower back. And if you're experiencing tenderness in the knees, I would also advise using wraps. In the bodybuilding world, we always say you're not a man until you do squats. Believe me, there's no other movement can take the place of squats to build an overall mass and power. Next, we're going to be moving right into hamstrings. Next on the agenda are hamstrings or leg biceps. I generally would prefer to start with leg curls, which is a great way to help warm the hamstrings up and hitting all heads of the hamstring. Also make sure you get a good stretch at the end of each movement. As far as reps are concerned, we're looking at anywhere between 10 to 12. Sets, we're looking at 4 at least. Leg curls is very important for adding length and developing the hamstring muscles. I also advise from time to time using stiff leg deadlifts. Remember, if you only have a hamstring, you only have half a leg. We'll move right into deadlifts next, stiff leg deadlifts. Another fantastic exercise for the hamstrings are stiff leg deadlifts. There's nothing like them as far as building mass and length. Now you want to make sure that when doing these, you're always in control of the movement. Let's start first with a lighter weight and work our way up. As far as reps are concerned, we're talking 8 to 10. As far as sets, at least 4. I would also advise from one workout to the next, alternating this exercise along with leg curls. nothing like stiff leg deadlifts to add overall mass and density to the hamstring muscles. Let's see how we're looking here. Next, we're going to be moving right into calves. Last on the agenda are calves, and I advise doing standing toe raises or either donkeys. Both of these are excellent mass builders. We're looking at anywhere between 6 to 7 sets, repetitions between 15 to 20. This is a stubborn muscle, and make sure that at the end of every set that you get a good stretch. That marks the end of my mass building routine. And if you train hard and eat properly, you too can be totally awesome. Just like me.